Ciao a tutti, sono Bella, benvenuti nel mio canale. When I just came to Argentina, I was expecting to hear names like Garcia, Gomez, Sanchez, because it's a Spanish speaking country. But to my surprise, all of Argentines had surnames that sounded very Italian. For example, Alighieri, Riccieri, and the list goes on. No, another thing that shocked me was that a lot of Argentines had Italian passports because if they were able to prove that their grandparents or great grandparents actually came from Italia, they were able to do the process to get their passport. And because of Argentina is going through a sticky or rough situation right now, many Argentines have actually migrated to Italy in search of a better future. And now that is ironic because many years ago, millions of Italians came to Argentina looking for a better future, and that is why about 62% of Argentines have Italian ancestry. Now, between 1880 and 1960, many Italians came to Argentina, as I said before, looking for a better future because the economy in Italy was not good at the time. They were trying to escape war and just other issues. And Argentina was underpopulated and needed a workforce, so the Italians came. There's a law in Argentina, Ley 24561, that declares the 3rd of June as Italian Immigration Day, and that's the day that Manuel Belgrano was born, and it said that his father was Italian. Now, with the great immigration of Italians and for such an extended period of time, we would expect that their influence would be pretty great on the country. Now, people always say Argentina is like a mini Italy, or it gives a European look. Architecture is very European, their culture is European, their food. I feel like I'm living in a country that's not Hispanic or Latin at all. I don't feel like I'm getting that real Spanish culture living in Argentina, because so many things are more like Europe than Latin or Hispanic. As it relates to gestures, you know that Italians use their hands to talk a lot, and so do Argentines. So they use this a lot to me, like, what are you doing? Doesn't make sense. Or they do like this to me, like they have no idea what you're talking about. Or they'll do this, which means to watch out. Or they'll do this to mean that it's awesome, perfect. It's a 10 out of 10. Now, I briefly mentioned architecture. The architecture in Argentina is very, as I said, it's very European. The buildings don't quite look like North America. It looks very much like some country in. It looks very much like it came out of Europe. The explanation for that is that many architects also came and they built those buildings, which are still standing today. Very strong, very good quality. I just think that if they would like clean them up a bit, and probably like give them a nice little sheen, they would be excellent, awesome. I actually just like just walking and just admiring the buildings. Imagine coming to Argentina, which is in South America, and expect to get Spanish food, like tacos and nachos, only to find that the food here has nothing to do with that. It's so European, so Italian, it's not even funny. Pastas and pizzas and sauces and cheese and sorrentinos and gnocchis and raviolis, like those are the things that they consume a lot of. If you go into the supermarket, you'll find that there are aisles of just sauces, variation of sauces, an aisle just full of pasta and all of that. So that's definitely an area where Italy is still very present in the Argentinian society. Also with some of their sweet treats, pan dulce or pasta frolla, but those are not really common things that people know about. Okay, so now let's talk about the bidet. Now we know that the bidet was invented in France, but Italy has kind of taken it over, adopted it. And I read that it's actually illegal to construct an apartment and not have a bidet in it. And I can see that definitely being an Argentinian thing, because here every single bathroom has a bidet. Doesn't matter how old the apartment is or how new it is. a bidet has to be present. That's a common factor. The new apartments, I don't see them putting heaters, especially in my city, but the bidet has to be there. I think over 70% of Argentines identify as Roman Catholics, and yeah, we definitely know Rome, Italy, like that's where the religion came from or the denomination came from. So most of them still associate with that belief system, and I think it came with their ancestors. And of course, they also have a lot of Catholic schools here in the country. And if you're from Italy, you speak English and you like to clarify, but I read online that Italians eat dinner between 8 or 10, which is pretty much the time that Argentines eat dinner. So I'm thinking that culture of eating so late came from the ancestors. Now, let's talk about gelato. Gelato is like a softer version of ice cream, and they say that it also has more milk and the processing is different. And this is the first time I've actually seen ice cream of that texture, and I was here in Argentina. And I think gelato means ice cream in Italian. So yeah, there are a lot of ice cream stores that will sell gelato. Some of them only sell that. An example would be Cianduia. We have it in Versailles. I'm not sure about Buenos Aires or other provinces. And it's just another way that Italy is still present in Argentina. It's pretty nice. You should try it. For this one, I'm going to read because my Italian is still so poco poco. Lunfardo, or the way they speak language. Italians, the way they certain words that they use, Argentines have modified it or use the same word. An example would be mina. In Argentina, it means girl, and in Italian would be femina. Laborar in Argentina means like to go to work, and the Italian would be lavorare. Fiaca in Argentina means just to be lazy, don't want to do anything, and in Italian would be fiaco. Pibe, which would be like a boy in Argentina, and in Italian would be pivo. Morfar in Argentina would be to eat, and morfa is the Italian word. I'm sure there are others, but I've spoken about this so many times, just how much Argentines just love with their families, love being with their families, just they have a close-knit family structure. And that's also something that I read that is very popular in Italy. They're all about their families, always looking out for the family, respecting the family, caring for the family, spending time with the family. It's all about family. Now, as it relates to life expectancy, Italians live very long. That's something that's very well known. I find that a lot of Argentines also live very long. You know, obviously, there are exceptions. But I see a lot of people in their 80s, 90s, and I don't mean like their 80s and 90s and just like, ugh. Their 80s and 90s and they're vibrant, they're going, they're kicking, they're studying, they're traveling, they're cooking, they're caring for themselves and all of that. So I think that aspect of the culture came from Italy. I could be wrong though. Education. I mentioned before that a lot of schools in Argentina are Catholic, and I think that came from their Italian roots. But there are schools here that are actually Italian schools. I think they like teach Italian as well as Spanish, and one of them is Dante Alighieri. It's here in Rosario. Well, I'm not sure if they have like other branches in other provinces. And I also read that schools in Italy, they have like a shift system, I think. Go from like 8:30 to about 1 there. About in Argentina too, it's very popular for schools to operate on a shift basis, even if they're private schools. This one is not so much of a big deal, but as it relates to olive oil, Argentines use a lot of olive oil, at least a lot more than we do in Jamaica. So I'm thinking, oh, Italians too, I think they use a lot of olive oil. And another thing is just the fact that they have a lot of little coffee shops, a lot of restaurants, and they have this thing where they'll set up like an area out on the sidewalk of the restaurant so that people can have their meals in, fresh air or outside. So I think that is a European thing, and I'm thinking that since most of their ancestors came from Italy, that could be where they've gotten it from. Okay, so I'm sure that there are other influences or other ways that Italy has impacted the Argentinian culture. If you know anything else, you can always leave it below, comment it so that we can move forward. Bye.